do what I do.
You see how insidious this is, family? Listen to me now. I'm talking to you because I love you and I want you to learn. They will not call us ignorant. Let's look at the stats. In 1860, in the census, the U.S. slave population in Virginia was 490,865. In Georgia, it was 462,198. In Mississippi, where my people were from, it's 436,631. In Alabama, 435,080. And these numbers largely sustained without foreign imports after 1808, relying instead on births within bondage. Slave breeding. We were literally bred here. So in this regard, we are indigenous in this regard. You understand me? This is where the forced separation of families came in. Major slave auctions like New Orleans and Natchez, Mississippi, and Charleston. We can trace our heritage. Many of us can trace our heritage. You would say, man, my family came from Virginia. They look at your history. Your family came from a plantation in Virginia. That's because it was a breeding farm, beloved. That's why. There's nothing historic about that. You're not related to the founding fathers. They had breeding farms. Black women's bodies were commodified as machines for labor production. Black families were routinely fractured by sale, migration, or coerced breeding. And of course, this left lasting psychological scars that reverberate through our culture today. And despite all of this, these unimaginable conditions, we still resisted. A lot of Black women learned they found herbs like cotton root, and it caused for them to delete the baby. So as opposed to being forced to breed, they would take herbs and whatnot that they learned and delete the baby. Some of them faked like they were sick. They injured themselves. They resisted sexual advances. Many fled to avoid this forced mating and child removal because they would take your baby. And this cultural memory preserved in stories of defiance, resilience, and survival in songs, oral histories, and spirituals. We are a great people, family. And y'all never forget that. You understand? This is what we're dealing with. This is what we came. We're going to get to the 14th Amendment. We ain't got there yet. I got to lay this foundation. Somebody type one drop rule in the chat room. So here you are, the child of a child of a child of a child of a person who was great over and over again through decades, and you bright as this paint on the wall behind that you see behind me. There is one drop rule because there was so many light-skinned Black folks walking around. It was formally codified later in the Jim Crow era, and it had its ideological roots in the antebellum South. Slavery entrenched the belief that any African ancestor, regardless of physical appearance, rendered someone Black and by extension subordinate. And the blood-based definition would persist even after the emancipation and become the foundation for the racial segregation and institutionalized racism. Now, I've already explained to you all about the Fugitive Slave Act, right? I told you about that. They were getting bodies and dragging them down, free people. So the domestic slave trade and the breeding enslaved people was not, this wasn't just a byproduct of slavery. This wasn't incidental. This was a key feature. This is a key feature. The U.S. became the only, because of slave breeding, the U.S. became the only major slaveholding nation to expand its slave population internally using laws, markets, legal, and social foundations. For the racial caste, the structure of Jim Crow, the cultural silence around Black women's reproductive trauma, and the delineation movement by FBA Americans today. We are not like you. You all didn't have to deal with this in the Caribbean. You didn't have to deal with this in Africa. Yeah, you had to deal with imperialism. Yeah, you had to deal with colonization, but you are not like us. See, you trace your ancestry as an immigrant, but you are not a person who was of the enslaved people who were forcibly bred and born on American soil. Period. Now, we went all the way back to 1313. We went past 1808. We're going to get to this 14th Amendment in a minute. Are y'all still with me? Hit the number 1 button if you're with me. Are you learning something? Are you learning something? And I'm going to get to all the super chats in a minute, but it's important to lay this foundation. We're going to get there. Y'all still with me? Let me know if you're still with me, hit the number 1 button. If you're ready for me to stop, I will stop. But I want to put an end to this disrespect of Black people and all these folks telling that we're entitled to the 4th Amendment. 14th, none of y'all went through what we went through. This is why we got citizenship. Because see, here's the thing. We were considered property, not human beings. And so what happens if legally we're considered property and now we're free? We have no statehood. You see? We have no citizenship. So they had to do something about that. They had to do something about that. So as the American Civil War broke out in 1861, the question of slavery was deeply entwined with the Union war effort, but it was initially its central cause. President Abraham Lincoln, elected in 1860 on a platform to prevent the expansion of slavery, and this was purely an economic thing. I need you all to understand something, okay? It was about economics, not so much the morality, even though that was an underlying argument. It's about the money. Somebody typed the money in the chat room. It's always about the money. But again, they wanted to prevent the expansion of slavery because it was interfering with the money. You understand? In fact, Lincoln wrote in August 1862, he wrote a letter to Horace Greeley. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. I intend no modification of my oft expressed personal wish that all men everywhere could be free. Still, by 1862, shout out to Penny Ford. By 1862, Lincoln began moving toward emancipation as a strategic war measure, not because he liked you all. What was he trying to do? Shout out to Mr. Hunter 5150. He was trying to undermine the Confederate economy, which was built on slave labor. If I free their slaves, they can't make any more money. This war is going to end. He did it to deter the foreign powers like Britain and France from recognizing the Confederacy as they had abolished slavery. And to justify the use of Black troops in the Union Army. You're free. Come fight for us. He had issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, at the height of the Civil War. The Emancipation Proclamation declared, listen, that all persons held as slaves within any state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then thenceforward and forever free. What does that mean? What did it say? It applied only to the Confederate states actively in rebellion. That means Georgia, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Texas. It gave Union forces the moral and legal backing to liberate enslaved people as they advanced into the Confederate territory. Just because he signed the Emancipation Proclamation does not mean that the Confederates is going to listen to him. But it gave them the legal, gave the Union forces the legal right to say, okay, y'all are free. The president said you're free, you're free. And it authorized the enlistment of Black men into the Union Army and the Navy And that was a critical turning point in the war. 200,000 black men signed up to fight. And that's the reason that we won. Can you imagine going somewhere in Appalachian Mountains and try to fight some of them white boys down them, some bad white boys? Some of the coldest white boys in the world live right there in the Appalachians. You better not run up in there. You coming down from Massachusetts, trying to fight somebody in the bushes.
What's up? Welcome to the broadcast. This is Uncle D.
People wash their ass in the tub, Kamala Harris.
You would tune in to Uncle D. D's black man talk. Pull up, homie, take a seat. Don't be a shadow watcher every day. You learn something, then you earn something. And let them know and drop some money in the plate. It's getting cold, ladies, talking ratchet. There's a king here, grab your coat, zip your jacket. Keep quiet for a second, close your jaw. Attorney Spurling, this ain't pearly, know the law. Talking Constitution, pushing pins when he shooting, give him that. Masculinity, just for the record, sprinkle that. You can keep your cat, gotta cut it. Only cat he rubbing, gotta love it. I call it Holly Buddy. Gotta vote your interest, voting earns. Presidential, this is for the money that I earn. When you gon' learn, my people, that evil mixed with evil. No matter what you're doing, baby, this ain't equal. Sometimes when you're special, you get hated. The test is for the best, you're damn right, my people made it. Uncle D, Blizzard King, you've been served, gotta notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you've been served, get your notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you've been served, get your notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you've been served, get your notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now.
Hey man, I'll do what I do.
Somebody need to whip your ass.
Get up and whip him, Sweets.
Hey, don't be putting the money in my hand all rough.
Take your ass out here. You buy you a Floby and cut your own damn hair from now on.